The cake knife trembled in Cassandra Mitchell's hand as she stood frozen at the bathroom doorway. The shower steam billowed around her, momentarily obscuring the two naked figures behind the glass door. For one merciful second, her brain refused to process what her eyes were seeing. Then the fog cleared. Her husband, her cousin, their bodies pressed together under the cascade of water. Marcus? Her voice was barely audible over the running shower. The figures jolted apart. Her cousin Natalie's eyes went wide with horror. Marcus spun around, his expression transforming from pleasure to panic in an instant. "Cass?" he started. But the words died in his throat. Below them, the muffled sounds of "Happy Birthday" drifted up through the floorboards as 30 guests waited for the guest of honor to return and blow out her candles. Cassandra's 35th birthday. The milestone she'd been dreading for months. Now it would be remembered for something far worse than the passage of time. The knife slipped from her fingers, clattering against the tile floor. The sound echoed like a gunshot in the steamy bathroom. "Cassandra, please," Natalie whispered, reaching for a towel. "It's not— Don't." Cassandra raised her hand, silencing her cousin. "Don't you dare say it's not what it looks like." Downstairs, the singing grew louder. Her mother would be looking for her. They all would. 30 people waiting to celebrate her, while her world collapsed in her own upstairs bathroom. Cassandra had met Marcus Delaney at a charity function 7 years ago. He'd been standing alone near the bar, looking as uncomfortable in his tuxedo as she felt in her borrowed cocktail dress. When their eyes met across the room, something clicked. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere but here," he'd said, handing her a glass of champagne. "That obvious, huh?" Cassandra had smiled, taking the glass. "My boss insisted I come. Said it would be good for networking. Well, you've networked with me, so mission accomplished. You're free to leave now." His smile had been crooked, genuine. They'd ended up talking until the event staff started stacking chairs. 6 months later, he proposed on a ferry crossing the harbor at sunset. It had been perfect. He had been perfect, or so she thought. The cracks had appeared gradually. Marcus worked long hours at his architecture firm, often coming home well after Cassandra had gone to bed. When she mentioned starting a family last year, he'd grown distant, suggesting they weren't financially ready despite his recent promotion. "I want us to be stable first," he'd said. "Maybe in another year or two." Cassandra had tried to be patient, to be understanding. They had time, after all. But as her 35th birthday approached, a quiet desperation had taken root. She'd started checking his phone when he was in the shower, scanning through his emails while he slept. She found nothing suspicious, which only made her feel worse about her insecurity. "You're being paranoid," her best friend Olivia had told her over coffee 3 weeks ago. "Marcus adores you." I know, Cassandra had sighed, stirring her latte absently. "It's just, something feels off. Has for a while now. It's the birthday blues," Olivia insisted. "You're overthinking everything because you're turning 35 and freaking out about your biological clock." Cassandra had forced a laugh. "Maybe you're right. Look, why don't you let me throw you a party? Nothing huge, just close friends and family. It'll take your mind off things." That was how it started, a well-intentioned suggestion from a friend who couldn't have possibly known what would unfold. Natalie hadn't even been on the original guest list. Cassandra's cousin had moved to Seattle 2 years ago for a job in tech, and they'd fallen out of regular contact. But when Aunt Sharon mentioned that Natalie would be in town that weekend, it seemed rude not to extend an invitation. "It'll be so good to see her," Cassandra had told Marcus as they prepared for bed the night before the party. "It's been, 2 years? Marcus had been unusually quiet, focused on his phone. "Yeah, about that long. Are you okay? You seem distracted." He'd put his phone down immediately, giving her a reassuring smile. "Just some work emails. The Henderson project is behind schedule." She'd believed him. Why wouldn't she? Cassandra had never been the jealous type. Even when Marcus had worked closely with his attractive colleague Renee on a major project last year, spending long evenings at the office, Cassandra had trusted him completely. The irony wasn't lost on her now. The day of the party had started perfectly. Olivia had arrived early to help decorate the house, hanging tasteful gold and white streamers in the living room and arranging flowers on the dining table. Cassandra's parents brought a bottle of expensive champagne and her favorite childhood cake, chocolate with raspberry filling. "Where do you want the gifts?" her father asked, carrying a stack of beautifully wrapped packages. "On the side table in the living room," Cassandra directed, "though I told everyone not to bring anything." "It's your 35th, her mother said, adjusting a flower arrangement. "Of course people are going to bring gifts." Marcus had been surprisingly involved in the preparations, cleaning the house meticulously and offering to pick up extra ice when they realized they were running low. In retrospect, his helpfulness had been suspiciously out of character. When the doorbell rang at 3:30 p.m., Cassandra was in the kitchen slicing lemons for the cocktails. "I'll get it," Marcus called out. Moving quickly to the front door, Cassandra heard the door open, followed by a feminine laugh that sent an unexpected chill down her spine. "Marcus, it's so good to see you," Natalie's voice carried into the kitchen. "You too," Marcus replied, his voice lower than usual. "Come in, everyone's out back." Cassandra wiped her hands on a dish towel and went to greet her cousin. Natalie looked stunning, as always. Her dark hair was cut in a new bob that framed her heart-shaped face perfectly, and her green sundress highlighted her slender figure. They embraced, and Cassandra caught a whiff of an unfamiliar perfume, something expensive and sophisticated. "Happy birthday, Cass," Natalie said, handing her a small gift bag. "You look amazing." "Thanks," Cassandra said, suddenly self-conscious in her simple blue dress. "It's great to see you." "How's Seattle?" "Rainy," Natalie laughed. "But I love it. The tech scene is incredible." As they chatted, Cassandra noticed Marcus hovering nearby, his eyes flickering to Natalie more often than seemed natural. She dismissed the observation as quickly as it formed. This was her birthday, her celebration. She wouldn't let her insecurities ruin it. The party progressed smoothly. By 6 p.m., the backyard was filled with the sounds of laughter and conversation. Cassandra moved from group to group, accepting birthday wishes and catching up with friends she hadn't seen in months. Marcus was being the perfect host, refilling drinks and engaging everyone in conversation. It was only when she went looking for him to help her bring out the appetizers that she realized he was nowhere to be found. Neither was Natalie. "Have you seen Marcus?" she asked Olivia, who was arranging a charcuterie board. "I think he went upstairs a while ago," Olivia replied. "Said something about changing his shirt after Ben's kid spilled juice on him." Cassandra nodded, heading inside. As she passed through the living room, her mother intercepted her. "Honey, when are we doing cake? People are starting to ask." "Soon, Mom. I just need to find Marcus first." "I'll round everyone up," her mother said. "Your father's got the camera ready." Cassandra climbed the stairs, hearing the shower running in the master bathroom. Marcus must have decided to rinse off after the spill. She'd just tell him to hurry up. The guests were waiting. She approached the bathroom door, which was slightly ajar. Steam billowed out into the hallway. She was about to knock when she heard it, a woman's muffled laugh, followed by Marcus's low voice. Her hand froze in midair. The sound might have been anything: the water, the pipes, her imagination. But deep down, Cassandra knew exactly what she'd heard. She pushed the door open. The cake knife fell from Cassandra's hand, striking the tile with a metallic clang that seemed to echo throughout the house. In that moment, the world narrowed to the shower stall and the two people scrambling to separate themselves inside it. "Cassandra, wait," Marcus called as she turned to leave. "Please, let me explain." She whirled back to face them, a surge of rage cutting through her shock. "Explain? Explain? You're fucking my cousin in our bathroom while 30 people are downstairs celebrating my birthday and you want to explain?" Natalie had managed to wrap herself in a towel, her face ghost white beneath her wet hair. "Cass, I'm so sorry. We didn't mean for this to happen. How long?" Cassandra demanded, her voice dangerously quiet. When neither answered immediately, she slammed her hand against the sink counter. "How long?" Marcus stepped out of the shower, hastily wrapping a towel around his waist. Water dripped from his body onto the bath mat. the matching set she'd bought last month to brighten up the bathroom. It started when she visited last Christmas, he admitted, unable to meet her eyes. But it was just that once, and then, Christmas? Cassandra felt the room spin. 9 months ago? When I had the flu and could barely get out of bed? Natalie was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. It was a mistake. We both knew it was wrong. Such a mistake that you're back in the shower with him less than an hour after arriving at my birthday party. Cassandra laughed, a hollow sound that frightened even herself. Were you planning this? Was this some kind of sick thrill for both of you, sneaking away while everyone celebrated me? From downstairs, a voice called up, Cassandra? Marcus, we're ready for the cake. The three of them froze, the reality of the situation crashing down. 30 guests were waiting downstairs, including Cassandra's parents, Marcus's sister, and friends from every chapter of their lives. What do we do? Natalie whispered. We? Cassandra's eyes narrowed. There is no we. You two have 10 minutes to get dressed and get out of my house. I don't care where you go or what you tell people. But if either of you are still here when I go back downstairs, I will announce to everyone exactly what I just walked in on. Cass, please. Marcus reached for her. You're upset, and you have every right to be. But let's talk about this. Don't touch me, she hissed, recoiling from him. Don't you dare touch me! What are you going to tell everyone? Natalie asked, clutching her towel tighter. Cassandra's laugh was bitter. That's what you're worried about? Your reputation? I haven't figured that part out yet, Natalie. Maybe I'll tell them the truth. That my husband and my cousin are fucking backstabbers who couldn't even respect me enough to cheat somewhere else on my birthday. She turned to leave but stopped at the doorway. You know what the worst part is? I've been blaming myself for months, thinking I was being paranoid, wondering what I was doing wrong in our marriage. She looked directly at Marcus. When all along it was you. It was always you. The hallway seemed impossibly long as Cassandra walked away from the bathroom. Her legs moved automatically, carrying her to the guest bedroom at the opposite end of the hall. She closed the door behind her and sank to the floor, pressing her hands against her mouth to stifle the scream building in her throat. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from Olivia. Where are you? Your mom's getting antsy about the cake. Cassandra stared at the message, her mind racing. What was she going to do? Walk back downstairs and pretend everything was fine? Tell everyone to go home? Announce the truth? She heard the bathroom door open, followed by hurried footsteps and hushed voices. The guest bedroom door had a lock, and she turned it instinctively, not wanting to face either of them again. Another text from Olivia. Everything okay? Cassandra took a deep breath, trying to steady her shaking hands enough to type a response. Not feeling well. Migraine. Can you handle the cake? Tell people I'll be down in a bit. It was a coward's way out, but she needed time. Time to think, to process, to decide what happened next. The betrayal was still too raw, too shocking to fully comprehend. A soft knock on the door made her jump. Cass? It's me. Olivia's voice was concerned. Your mom said you've been gone for 20 minutes. What's going on? Cassandra hesitated, then unlocked the door. Olivia slipped in, closing it behind her. One look at Cassandra's face told her everything she needed to know. What happened? She asked, sitting beside Cassandra on the floor. The words came out in a broken whisper. I caught Marcus with Natalie. In the shower. Olivia's eyes widened in shock. What? Are you serious? I wish I wasn't. Tears finally spilled over, running down Cassandra's cheeks. They've been sleeping together since Christmas. Those motherfuckers, Olivia breathed, pulling Cassandra into a tight hug. I'm so sorry, Cass. Downstairs, the murmur of conversation had grown louder, punctuated by occasional laughter. The party continued, oblivious to the devastation unfolding above. What do you want to do? Olivia asked after a moment. Whatever it is, I'm with you. Cassandra wiped her eyes, a strange calm settling over her. I want them gone, and then I want to go downstairs and blow out my candles. Are you sure? No one would blame you if... I'm sure, Cassandra interrupted. This is still my birthday, my home, my life. I refuse to let them take this day from me too. Olivia squeezed her hand. I'll make sure they leave. No. Cassandra stood up, smoothing her dress. I need to do this part myself. Cassandra found them in the bedroom. Marcus was pulling on a clean shirt while Natalie, now fully dressed, sat on the edge of the bed they had shared for 6 years. Both looked up when she entered, their faces masks of guilt and fear. Cassandra, Marcus began, stepping toward her. Please, can we talk about this? No, her voice was steady now, cold. This isn't a conversation. This is me telling you both to get out of my house. You can't just throw me out, Marcus protested. This is my home too. Not anymore. Cassandra crossed to the closet and pulled out his overnight bag, tossing it onto the bed. Pack what you need for tonight. You can come back for the rest when I'm not here. Cass, be reasonable, Natalie pleaded. I know you're hurt, but reasonable? Cassandra turned on her cousin, fury rising in her chest. You want me to be reasonable? You slept with my husband behind my back for 9 months and had the audacity to show up at my birthday party and continue right under my nose. You don't get to ask me for reasonableness. Natalie flinched, tears welling in her eyes. I never meant to hurt you. Bullshit. Cassandra took a step closer, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. You knew exactly what you were doing. Both of you did. So spare me the fake remorse. It wasn't fake, Marcus insisted, reaching for her arm. Cassandra, I love you. This thing with Natalie, it was a mistake, a stupid... Cassandra jerked away from his touch. Don't you dare try to minimize this. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or burning dinner. This was a choice. A series of choices, made over and over again for months. What do you want me to say? Marcus's voice rose in frustration. That I'm a terrible person? Fine, I am. But you've been so distant lately, so obsessed with having a baby. So, this is my fault? Cassandra laughed bitterly. I wanted to start a family with you, and that drove you into my cousin's arms? No, I didn't mean... He ran his hands through his damp hair. Look, we can fix this. Couples therapy, a fresh start. There is no fixing this. Cassandra cut him off. There is no coming back from what you did. What both of you did. Natalie stood up, gathering her purse. I should go. Yes, you should, Cassandra agreed coldly. And Natalie? Don't ever contact me again. As far as I'm concerned, you no longer exist. The words hung in the air between them, final and devastating. Natalie's face crumpled, but she said nothing as she slipped past Cassandra and out of the room. Alone with Marcus, Cassandra felt a wave of exhaustion wash over her. 7 years of marriage, reduced to this awful, awkward standoff in their bedroom while their friends and family waited downstairs. Why? She asked simply. Why her? Why any of it? Marcus sat heavily on the bed, shoulders slumped. I don't know. It just happened. Things like this don't just happen, Marcus. You made a choice. I know. He looked up at her, his eyes red-rimmed, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Good. Cassandra turned to leave. Lock up when you go. Leave your keys on the counter. What are you going to tell everyone? He asked. She paused at the doorway. I haven't decided yet. But don't worry. I'll make sure the blame lands exactly where it belongs. Downstairs, the party had taken on a restless energy. Cassandra could feel the questioning glances as she re-entered the living room, could hear the whispers. Olivia appeared at her side immediately, a glass of champagne in hand. They're gone, Cassandra confirmed quietly. Is the cake ready? Yes, but Cass, are you sure you want to do this now? We can send everyone home. No. Cassandra squared her shoulders. I want my birthday cake. Her mother approached, concern etched on her face. Honey, what's going on? Where's Marcus? And has anyone seen Natalie? The room quieted, all eyes turning to Cassandra. In that moment, she made her decision. Marcus won't be joining us, she announced, her voice carrying across the room. Neither will Natalie. I just caught them together upstairs. They've been having an affair for months. A collective gasp rippled through the guests. Her mother's hand flew to her mouth in shock. Her father's face darkened with anger. I know this is awkward, Cassandra continued, raising her champagne glass. Believe me, it's not how I plan to spend my 35th birthday either. But since you're all here, and since there's cake and champagne, I'd like to make a toast. She looked around the room at the stunned faces of her friends and family. To new beginnings. Because starting today, I'm taking my life back. Someone, Olivia, probably started to clap and others joined in. A wave of supportive applause washing over Cassandra as tears streamed down her face. Now, she said, wiping her eyes, who's ready for cake? The autumn air carried a crisp bite as Cassandra walked through the park, a cardboard coffee cup warming her hands. 6 months had passed since her birthday, 6 months of lawyers, paperwork, and slowly rebuilding her life from the wreckage of her marriage. The divorce was final now. Marcus had moved to Chicago for a new job, offering little resistance to her demands in the settlement. Natalie had apparently returned to Seattle immediately after that day, though Cassandra had blocked her number and all social media accounts, so she couldn't be certain. She found an empty bench overlooking the lake and sat down, watching a family of ducks glide across the water. The past 6 months had been the hardest of her life, but sitting here now, Cassandra felt something she hadn't expected. Peace. Is this seat taken? She looked up to see Olivia standing there, carrying 2 paper bags from the bakery down the street. I got your text, Olivia explained, sitting beside her. And I brought reinforcements. She opened one of the bags to reveal chocolate croissants, still warm from the oven. You're a goddess, Cassandra said, accepting one gratefully. They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, eating their pastries and watching the ducks. So, Olivia finally said, Today's the day, huh? You signed the papers? Cassandra nodded. Officially divorced as of 2:15 this afternoon. How does it feel? Surreal, Cassandra admitted. 7 years of marriage, undone with a signature. But also freeing. Olivia squeezed her hand. I'm proud of you, Cass. You've handled all of this with more grace than anyone could have expected. Cassandra smiled wryly. I don't know about that. I did throw his golf clubs in the pool. After what he did. He got off easy, Olivia laughed. Have you heard from him lately? Not directly. His lawyer mentioned he's seeing someone in Chicago. And how do you feel about that? Cassandra considered the question. Honestly? I hope she knows what she's getting into. But it's not my problem anymore. Her phone buzzed with a text message. She glanced down, surprised to see a name she hadn't deleted but had avoided for months. Aunt Sharon, Natalie's mother. I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us, but I wanted you to know that Natalie is getting help. She's in therapy and truly regrets what she did to you. I'm not asking you to forgive her, just letting you know that she understands the gravity of her actions. Cassandra stared at the message, a complex mix of emotions washing over her. Bad news? Olivia asked, noting her expression. No, just from the past. Cassandra put the phone away without responding. Maybe someday she'd find the capacity to acknowledge her aunt's message, but not today. Today was about moving forward. Speaking of which, Olivia said, pulling an envelope from her purse, I have something for you. Cassandra took the envelope, opening it to find a birthday card. Inside was a gift certificate for a solo trip to the coastal bed and breakfast they'd talked about visiting. My birthday isn't for another 6 months. Cassandra protested. Consider it a divorce present then, Olivia smiled. Or better yet, a fresh start present. A do-over for last year's disaster. Cassandra felt tears well up unexpectedly. Thank you. You deserve it, Olivia said simply. After everything you've been through, you deserve something just for you. As they sat there by the lake, Cassandra realized something important. The pain hadn't disappeared, but its edges had softened. The betrayal would always be part of her story, but it didn't define her. What defined her was what came after. The strength she'd found in herself. The support she'd accepted from true friends. The new life she was building piece by piece. You know, she said, watching a mother duck lead her ducklings across the water. I never thought I'd say this, but in a weird way, I'm almost grateful it happened. Olivia looked at her skeptically. Grateful that your husband cheated with your cousin? Not for that specific nightmare, no, Cassandra laughed. But for the wake-up call. I was so focused on what I thought my life should look like by 35. The perfect marriage, a baby on the way, the whole picture-perfect package, that I never stopped to ask if it was actually making me happy. And now I get to figure out what actually does make me happy. Cassandra smiled, feeling lighter than she had in months. Starting with this weekend at that coastal bed and breakfast. As they gathered their things to leave, Cassandra cast one last look at the peaceful lake. The ducks had disappeared around a bend, leaving only gentle ripples on the surface of the water. Like wounds healing, she thought. The pain recedes, but it leaves its mark, a reminder of what happened, but not a definition of what comes next. Her 36th birthday was still months away. By then, she would be living in the apartment she'd found downtown, closer to her new job. She would be officially single for the first time in nearly a decade. And contrary to everything she'd feared before turning 35, she was beginning to suspect that her life wasn't ending. It was just beginning.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.